Okay guys, so good day no. Today is our fourth week sa ating maritime law and we're going to tackle implementation and enforcement of maritime zones under UNCLOS. And we're going to focus the coastal state powers and ship rights. So we'll focus on two important things. First, the powers of the coastal state, meaning that the country whose shoreline we're talking about can use with each maritime zone, and second, the rights and responsibilities that ships have even there are in those areas. And by the end of these lessons, you should be able to clearly identify that the coastal state can do each zones and the ships are allowed and not allowed. This is important for us for the future deck officers like you because we're all sailing through the zones and need to know that the rules and to avoid legal uh, trouble for the future sailing with different vessels with you. So before we dive into the details, let's understand why knowing maritime zones is so important. So first, as seafarers, we don't just sail on water. We pass through areas that belong to the different countries, just like what we discussed last week, no? And each with its own rights and responsibilities. And the UNCLOS give us the clear map of these zones that the rules for each country. So these zones include the internal waters, the territorial sea, the contiguous zone, the exclusive economic zone or the EEZ, and the high seas, and also the continental shelf and seabed. So if we know that we are in these zones, we are know that the laws apply and how we should act. So whether it is a about navigation, fishing, and pollution, or source or resource use, this knowledge keep us compliant and professional when we are at sea. So all of us are responsible to do those things, whether if it is for business or for our own goods, no, like fishing, and also for the maritime pollution and resource use. So as we go further, first, we have the internal waters. So for the definition, for the internal waters on the landward side of the baseline of coastal state, this includes the rivers, bays, and ports. Para lalo natin mas maintindihan, no, the internal waters are the parts of the sea that are already inside the country's border. Nasa loob na siya ng border ng country. So this includes the rivers, bays, harbors, and ports. So if you're going to draw a line along the coast called the baseline, no, yung line along the coast, we called it baseline. Everything on land inside of the line is considered as the internal waters. So it's like the country's private space in the ocean. So we call it internal waters. So no foreign ship can just enter without permission of the country, and just like can't enter someone's house without being invited. No, just for example, no, papasok ka sa basta-basta sa loob ng bahay na wala namang invitation coming from the owner of the house. Gano'n din pagdating sa internal waters, no? The country's private space in the ocean. So no foreign ship can enter just without any permission. So example, Manila Bay is a part of the Philippines internal waters when a foreign cargo vessel cannot just enter or dock without the clearance for the Philippine authorities. Ganon po yung ating definition pagdating sa internal waters. Then next, we have the internal waters or the internal waters coastal state powers. So for the full sovereignty over the waters, seabed, and airspace, can enforce laws on navigation, fishing, environmental protection, and customs. So in internal waters, the coastal state has a full sovereignty, meaning full control over everything. Just for example, the water, the seabed under it, and even the air above it. This means that the country can make a forced law about first how ships navigate, then how can fish and how much, how to protect environment from the pollution, and also customs rules for goods entering the country. Ayun po yung the country can make and enforce on that law kapag ang internal waters, the coastal state has a full sovereignty, meaning full control over everything. Ano yung everything na yon? Yung water, yung seabed, and even the air. Kung meron mang papasok na helicopter above that, bodies of water and seabed under it, and the air above the water, merong full control ang isang country. No? For example, if a foreign ship enters in a Manila Bay without permission and dumps waste in the uh, Philippine water, so the Philippine Coast Guard can arrest the crew who dump garbage into the water. And find the ship. Ang gagawin nila, pagfa-find nila yung vessel and then ban it from entering with the Philippine area again. And also because the Manila Bay is part of the Philippines internal water. Again, illegal of putting garbage into the state of the Philippines is illegal and can can ban the vessel and pwede rin nating hindi napapuntahin or payagang makapasok sa internal waters or coastal state of the Philippines. Then, internal waters, ship rights and responsibilities. Ano naman yung ship rights and responsibilities? First, we have the foreign vessels have no right of innocent passage without consent. And ships must comply fully with the coastal state laws. So for the internal waters, foreign ships do not have the right of innocent passage, meaning that they cannot just sail through without permission. If a coastal state allows them inside, the ships must follow the country's laws. Just like the visitors in someone's house, you must follow the house rules. Parang kay Kuya, no? They are following the house rules of Pinoy Big Brother, no? Because it is Kuya's house. Then, for example, if a foreign yacht cannot just sail into the Cebu port without getting clearance from the Philippine authorities, it is if it is allowed in, it must follow the Philippine laws and the safety, also the customs, the environmental protection while they are inside the uh, Cebu port. So again, for example, when a foreign yacht sail into the Cebu port without getting clearance from Philippine authorities, if it is allowed in, it must follow the Philippine laws on the safety customs and the environmental protection while they are inside the Cebu port. Then next we have the territorial sea. So for the territorial sea, it extends up to 12 nautical miles from the baseline. So part of the sovereign territory of the coastal state. So for the territorial sea, it is the belt of water that stretches up to 12 nautical miles from a country's baseline. So if it is still considered that the country's sovereignty territory, so meaning that the country has a full ownership and control, just like on its land. Just for example, if you measure 12 nautical miles out of the coast of Palawan, then the entire area is still considered part of the Philippine territory. And the Philippine laws applies there. So kapag daw sumobra ng isang continent or isang country ng 12 nautical miles, it is still considered part of that country. Just for example, yung example natin na we measure 12 nautical miles out from the coast of Palawan, then the entire area that is still covered, those 12 nautical miles is considered as part of the Philippine territory. So ganun po yung tinatawag nating territorial sea under the 12 nautical miles from the baseline. Then next we have the territorial sea coastal state powers. So for the full sovereignty but the subject the right of innocent passage for the foreign ships and can regulate, navigate, fishing and environmental rules. So in this territorial sea, the coastal state has almost the same powers as it does on land. So first, it can make sure, make and enforce law. The same din, pwede silang gumawa at magpatupad ng batas. They can also control fishing and resource use. They can also protect the environment and they can control navigation and security. So the country also decides a foreign ship can enter its ports from here. So if a foreign cargo is 10 nautical miles from the coast of Davao naman, Philippine authorities can board the ship if it is suspected of illegal fishing or carrying banned cargo because it is inside the Philippine Territorial Sea. Again, example natin, if a foreign cargo vessel is 10 nautical miles from the coast of Davao, then the Philippine authorities can board on that ship. It's suspected of illegal fishing and carrying banned cargo because it is still inside the Philippine Territorial Sea. So, ayun po yung ating sea coastal state powers. Hanggang doon yung powers ng isang country. Pag ito ay tumapak ng 10 nautical miles from the coast of Davao. So, for the territorial sea, ship rights and responsibilities, the right of innocent passage without prior notification must engage in activities prejudicial to the peace, good order, or security. So in the territorial sea, the foreign ships are allowed that's called the right of innocent passage. Again, ships are allowed what's called the right of innocent passage. This means they can sail through without asking permission, but only if they are do nothing, anything legal or threatening. Pwede silang dumaan kung wala naman silang ibang gagawin kundi magpa-pass through lang sila ng boundaries without doing anything illegal or threatening. Ships must not first, pero ito yung bawal nilang gawin, no? Dapat hindi sila mangisda without any permission. They cannot do fishing without any permission, spy or gather military information on that certain country, and pollute the waters or endanger the safety of the coastal state. Ayun po yung mga bawal ng gawin, but nonetheless, kung dadaan lang sila, it is, we call it the right of innocent passage. Just for example, a Japanese container ship passed through 8 nautical miles off the coast of Bohol without asking for clearance. As long as they just keep on moving and follow navigation rules and doesn't fish or dump waste or do nothing illegal actions or threatening to the military, they can pass through without any permission, and we call it as a right of innocent passage. So ayun po yung tinatawag nating right of innocent passage na you can pass through a certain countries or certain boundaries without any permission if you don't do anything just like fish without permission, spy or gather military information, or pollute the waters and endanger safety of the coastal state. Again, we call it as a right of innocent passage. Pagdating naman sa contiguous zone, it extends up to 24 nautical miles from the baseline adjacent to the territorial sea. What is the difference naman pagdating dito sa ating contiguous zone? Sa ating contiguous zone naman, it is the belt of water that starts right after the territorial sea. Again, magsisimula yung ating contiguous zone after the territorial sea and extend up to 24 nautical miles from the baseline. Kung ang ating endpoint ng territorial sea is until 12 nautical miles, then after that 12 nautical miles, magi-start yung ating contiguous zone in which it extends up to 24 nautical miles from the baseline. So, it is not fully part of the country's territory, but the coastal state still has their certain powers. So most likely to protect the territory from illegal activities. Just for example, laging gamitin natin example yung Philippines, no? For example, if the Philippines baseline is measured from Cebu, no? Baseline ng Philippines, kunwari lang nagme-measure siya galing doon sa Cebu, then the contiguous zone would stretch up to 12 nautical miles at the edge, no? Ito yung tinatawag natin the territorial sea, and up to 24 nautical miles out, and we call it as the contiguous zone. This is where the Philippines can watch for smuggling. This is where the Philippines can watch for smuggling or illegal immigration or pollution because it reaches the territorial waters. So kumbaga yung contiguous zone natin, ito yung pinaka ano natin, watching zone na kapag sumobra pa siya or lumapit pa siya sa ating baseline in which nag-e-extend yung territory sea natin ng 24 nautical miles, 'di ba yung contiguous zone natin umaabot siya ng 24 nautical miles. Tapos yung ating territorial zone is 12 miles. Kapag pumasok na yung isang vessel doon sa 24 nautical miles, dapat nagmamatiyag na yung Philippine authorities natin. Kasi ibig sabihin parang papalapit na siya sa ating territorial zone. Kasi baka mamaya puwedeng magkaroon ng illegal migration or meron mang smuggling or any kind of pollution na puwedeng maapektuhan yung ating territory. So, ayun po yung ating contiguous zone. So, for the contiguous zone, coastal state powers can enforce law related to the customs, taxation, immigration, and pollution, and no full sovereignty like territorial waters. So, it can treat like this area like its full territory, but it can act to stop problems before they entered its border. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko, no? Hindi mo siya pwedeng bawalan, pero you can try to observe and watch before they can act or before they bring problems to your territory or to your borders. So, ano ba pwedeng gawin ng isang country? So, the country can enforce custom laws to stop smuggling if there is, and enforce immigration law to stop illegal entry, and also enforce fiscal law to stop tax evasion through goods, and enforce sanitary laws to stop pollution or disease from spreading. So for our example, if a foreign fishing boat is caught up to 20 nautical miles of the coast of Palawan, 'di ba sabi natin it stretches up to 24 nautical miles. So kung meron kayong nakitang foreign boat 20 nautical miles from the coast of Palawan, smuggling endangered species into the Philippine waters, so the Philippine Coast Guard can chase and stop it because it is the contiguous zone of the Philippines. Again, sabi nga natin na pwede natin silang matyagan, and if that until 24 nautical miles, and ang example natin is 20 and nasa watch zone sila, and that area is until pwede pang umabot yung Philippines natin. So, the Philippine Authority can chase or habulin para patigilin yung ating foreign ship na pumapasok sa contiguous zone. And it is the law enforced, but it is not uh, heavy as the law enforced when they are in the territorial zone, no? So, nasa contiguous zone pa sila, so they can stop at habulin, but they cannot give any sanctions for those activity, no? Puwede lang nilang patigilin kasi they still on the contiguous zone. So, next we have the contiguous zone ship rights and responsibilities. For the freedom of navigation is preserved and must avoid actions that breach the coastal state's limited enforcement rights. So in this contiguous zone, the foreign ships still have the freedom to navigate, but they must not break the coastal state laws related to the customs, immigration, and or the sanitation na sinabi natin kanina. So if they violate one of these laws, the coastal state can stop, inspect, or even seize the ship. No, for example, sabi ko nga kanina, ito another example, no. If a foreign passenger vessel passing through 22 nautical miles from the coast of Zamboanga, they can still sail freely. But if they tries to drop passengers off secretly to avoid immigration check, no, the Philippines authorities can intercept them. Pwede nilang pigilin yun or bawalan sila, no? So that is the rights of the and responsibilities under the contiguous zone. Pagdating naman sa ating exclusive economic zone, it extends up to 200 nautical miles naman. So from territorial na 12, contiguous zone na 24, ang easy naman natin is 200 nautical miles from the baseline. So coastal state have the sovereign rights for resource exploration and exploitation. So the EEZ is the area that stretches from the edge of the territorial sea, no, yung pinaka-edge ng territorial sea which is 12 nautical miles hanggang 200 nautical miles naman. So again, ulitin natin yung contiguous zone sa edge ng territorial sea hanggang 24 nautical miles. Pagdating naman sa EEZ, edge of the territorial zone na 12 nautical miles hanggang 200 nautical miles, no? So from the baseline. So it is not full territory, but the coastal state has special rights here to use and to manage natural resources in the water. So on the seabed and under the seabed, just for example, no, the waters around the Spratly Island, and there are within 200 nautical miles of Palawan, and the part of that Philippines EEZ, meaning the Philippines has the right to fish there and explore its natural gas. So kaya yung pinagtatalunan natin na sa West Philippine Sea, ayun po yung pinag-uusapan diyan, no, yung kasi part pa siya ng EEZ ng ating Philippines, and sometimes the um, side of another country, ayokong magbanggit ng name, no, is they're claiming that it is on their territory, but still that part is part of the Philippine EEZ kasi it stretches out to from the baseline of 12 nautical miles of the territorial sea until to the 200 nautical miles from the baseline. So yun po yung ating pinaglalaban on that part. And for the EEC state powers to control over the natural resource in the water, column, seabed, and suboil, uh, they can enforce environmental protections and measure. So for this, ang ating EEC, the coastal state powers are mainly about using and protecting natural resource. And with this, the country can first control fishing and marine farming, no? Yung mga nangingisda and may kinukuha yung mga laman dagat sa dagat, and explore the oil and gas industry and minerals in the seabed, and build structures like oil rigs or wind farms, no? Just like yung nangyari doon sa may West Philippine Sea natin. And protect the marine environment from damage. But pero but it cannot stop foreign ships from passing through or flying over that area as long as they follow the international laws. Example natin diyan, if a foreign trawler, no, yung trawler ship natin is caught fishing for tuna of 150 nautical miles of Palawan without permission, the Philippine authorities can seize and catch and find the crew because it's fishing under the Philippine control, which is part of still the EEZ of the Philippines. So again, nasa 150 nautical miles, alam naman natin na ang ating EEZ is up to 200 nautical miles. So the EEZ right and ships and responsibilities, first the freedom of navigation and overflight, and must respect the resource rights of the coastal state. So for the foreign ships have the freedom to sail and fish only with permission, lay submarine cables and fly over, but they must respect the coastal state resource right. So ship, ano ba yung mga hindi dapat gawin ng isang vessel? Ang mga hindi dapat gawin ng isang vessel is to fish or collect resource without consent, damage the environment, or interfere with the coastal state activities like oil drilling. Just example natin dyan is when a research vessel from another country passed through a 100 nautical miles of the Mindoro, but they want to collect marine samples, they should get first a permission from the Philippine government bago sila magsagawa ng isang research. Kahit na they are not doing illegal or they're not doing endangering things, they just want to get a sample. First, they should have to get a permission, or what do you call this? License to do that thing before they act or before they bago sila magsagawa ng isang research doon on that particular area of the Philippines, the Mindoro area, no? And next we have the continental shelf and seabed. So for our continental shelf and seabed, yung tinatawag natin dito na continental shelf, it is basically the underwater extension of the country's land, no? So, ilalim ng dagat, and it is the shallow ledge under the ocean before the seabed drops deep, no? It is legally under the UNCLOS. So, the natural prolongation of the land's territory to the outer edge of the continental margin. So it is usually matches the EEZ up to 200 nautical miles, but if the natural shelf continues further, they can extend out to 350 nautical miles from the baseline. No? Pagdating naman sa continental daw hanggang 350 nautical miles from the baseline. Just for example, the Philippine Rise. It is part of the Philippine continental shelf. It is underwater plateau of its east of Luzon that is the UN confirmed belongs to the Philippines even if it is extend out to 200 nautical miles. Then another example, no? Imagine you are standing on the beach and the shallow part that can still walk on the underwater is like the continental shelf, no? Yung shallow part, yung mababaw na parte ng na pwede mo pang lakarin under the underwater, ayun pa rin daw yung ating continental shelf. So for the Philippines, the Benham Rise, it is part of the continental shelf because it is connected to the land under the sea and even though it is far away from the ocean. So ayun po yung ating continental shelf and seabed. So continental shelf and seabed from ship rights and responsibilities. So for the dito muna pa tayo, no? Continental shelf and seabed coastal state power. So exclusive to explore and exploit resources on shelf sovereignty over the waters above the shelf. So sa continental shelf, may exclusive rights and coastal state may exclusive rights ang isang coastal state para maghanap ng or mag-extract ng resources tulad ng oil and gas, minerals at iba't ibang klase ng hayop na nakatira sa isang seabed or sa ilalim ng dagat, no? Just for example, yung crabs or lobster. Pero always remember that hanggang seabed lang yung kaya nilang i-control. Kasi hindi kasama dun yung mga tubig sa ibabaw like yung pwedeng parte ng EEZ or the high seas. So kaya pwede rin dumaan yung mga barko mula sa ibang bansa basta sumunod lang sila sa isang rules. So for example, pwedeng mag-drill ng oil ang Pilipinas sa Benham Rise pero hindi puwedeng pagbawalan ang foreign ships na dumaan sa ibabaw, no? Basta safe at legal yung biyahe ng isang vessel, no? Basta hindi sila nagko-cause ng any kind of the threats or illegal sa part of the Philippines. So that is our first half sa ating discussion, no? Let's have a break, no, water break or health break. Then be back after 15 minutes for the continuation.